Hi, good afternoon. I hope you all of you fine and fit. So, before going to today's topic, just I would like to revise the previous topic that is about the Lebanon. So, in Lebanon, how the leaders they solved their ethnic problems. So, we learned the things through the different arrangements. See, in Lebanon, in a state or government, the different posts are reserved for different religious sect, especially the post of the president and the prime minister post, deputy prime minister post, and also the speaker. So these posts are reserved for the different religious sect. It's like a reservation in those posts. So just I would like to remember once again. So the president posts reserved for especially the Maronite sect of Catholic Christian, and the prime minister post is reserved for Sunni Muslim, which is a largest branch of Islam religion, and the deputy prime minister post that goes to Orthodox Christian sect, and the speaker post that goes to Shia Muslims. So, by giving the reservation, or even the people they were agreed to reserve these high post in a state for the different religious sect, and by this they successfully solved their ethnic problem, especially among Muslims and the Christianity. So it's completely avoided the civil war in the country, and as well as even the partition of the country also. So today's class we are going to learn about forms of power sharing. Forms of power sharing. See, in previous classes, we learned about the different governments and even the power sharing arrangement also. In most of the government, except democracy, the completely a state power or the government power rests with the person or the group of the persons, and it's too difficult to manage the whole, and even they are superior, those who are having that highest power in a state in a different form of the government, and even it's too difficult to execute also and to control also, and even it is very clear that there is no value even the common people or whoever those who are living in that respective state, they don't have any rights to raise their voice against government also, even for criticize also. So completely a state power or the government power, it's centralized. But in a democracy, even it is one of the basic principle of the democracy, that is about here the people are the main resources for democracy and even for political activity. Why? Because this is people's government. This is this is people government. The government is formed by the people, elected by the people, and even the completely in a democratic form of the government or in this system, we can see the involvement of all categories people. Yeah, there is no any kind of what we call inequality or even giving or neglecting. No, not like this. So, in a democracy, the power mainly shared between in a different organs of the government and levels of the government, and even though the power is shared between different social groups, political parties, and also the pressure groups like this. Now, let us discuss about the horizontal distribution of power in a democratic countries. Horizontal distribution of power. See, where the government power is shared between different organs, in a different organs such as the legislature, executive, and judiciary. So that used to call as because all these three organs are placed at the same level. Placed at same level. So these three organs, these are the important organs of the government. Legislature, executive, and judiciary. So these are important organs of the government. So the government power or state power equally distributed among these the different organs, legislature, executive, and judiciary, and all these three organs of the government placed at the same level to exercise different powers. Legislature has its own, and executive also it has its own power, and judiciary also it has the own power. So here one interesting thing, in these three organs, the legislature and executive both are interdependent. Both are interdependent, and here the judiciary in a democracy, it is one of the independent organ of the government. So please make it clear. In a democratic system, these three are the important organs of the government, such as legislature, executive, and judiciary. And legislature and executive interdependent organs, but the judiciary is an independent organ of the government. See, this separation ensures that none of the organs can exercise unlimited power. Each organ check the others. For example, the legislature, whatever it is checked by the executive, and both this legislature and executive is checked by judiciary. And there is the limit also about their power. They can't exercise the unlimited power. Then one more important thing, all these three organs, they are working under the constitution. So none of the organ is no more or no less, and this actually maintained or results in a balance of power sharing among various institutions also, because there is the constitution. In a democratic system, the constitution is the final one. Everyone, and whoever it may be, and even we learned in previous years, the elected representatives, whether the MLA, MLC, MP, or the ministers, or the prime minister, and including the different level of the government officials, they are accountable or responsible to the parliament. Everyone, each and everyone, even who are exercising the real power of the government, are those who are running the government, the executive body, and the ministers, or the chief minister and his cabinet, or prime minister and his cabinet, completely accountable or responsible to the parliament, whether state assembly or central assembly. So this we clearly understand that the both the assemblies, whether parliament or state assemblies, are under the, they are responsible, and even they are under the judiciary, I mean accountable, because the judiciary, it is going to check the functioning of executive and legislature body of the government. Is it clear now? The judiciary, so even in a judiciary, I mean, all are appointed by the executive body of the government. For example, all judges of the different levels of the courts are appointed by the executive body, including Supreme Court judge also. The judges are appointed by the executive body, and even though they can check the, once if the person or whoever it may be appointed by the executive for the post of a judge, and they are going to check, and even whatever they are functioning, the legislature and executive, whatever they are making a law, or whatever they are going to implement you through executive, here it is very clear that we already knows that. So legislature is a law making body of the government, a law making body of the government, and executive, so which are passed by the legislature, they are going to implement even with the help of the government officials. And these, whatever it may be, exercising the different powers or whatever they are functioning, whether legislature or executive, so they completely under the judiciary. So because the legislature and executive, it has its own limits to exercise their function of power. And here, even though the judges are appointed by the executive, even though they can check the functioning of executive or lawmaking body of this legislature, and this arrangement in a democratic system used to called as a system of check and balance. Is it clear now? So, system of checks and balance. Checks and balances. Because everything it is observed by, checked by, whatever they are exercising the function, it's under the completely under the supervision of judiciary. The judiciary can guide, suggest, even according to constitution, the judiciary can take action on legislature and as well as the executive body of the government. So, dear students, I hope it is clear that so where the power is shared among different organs of the government, such as legislature, executive, and judiciary, and it's called as a horizontal distribution of power. And here, the another one important thing just I told now that is about system of checks and balances. System of checks and balances. That means whatever they are exercise the functions, whether a lawmaking body, legislature, whether the organ which is going to implement with the help of the civil service bodies, the executive, they are under the supervision of the judiciary. Even the judges are appointed by the executive body, even though they are completely going to check the legislature and executive, and in a democracy this kind of arrangement is known as or called as the system of checks and balances. And I hope, dear students, today's class, whatever we are discuss about the horizontal distribution of the power. So, time and again, I'm saying the same thing because it is one of the important concept and as well as the main theme of the power sharing system in a democratic government. Are you getting now? So, where the government power is shared between different organs of the government, such as legislature, executive, and judiciary, that we used to call as a horizontal distribution of power sharing arrangement. And here, such a separation ensures that none of the organs can exercise unlimited power. None of the organs can exercise unlimited power. And each organs checks the others. Each organs, the legislature and executive and judiciary. Then finally all these three organs of the governments work under the guidelines of or according to that respective nation's constitution. Here The constitution is the final one, whichever it may be the different organs of the government. So they must follow the constitution, and even so these three organs are don't have unlimited, but here one important thing, it is very clear. So the legislature and executive, these two bodies are completely checked by judiciary part. See, that shows that here these two are interdependent, legislature and executive, while functioning their power, but the judiciary is an independent organ of the government. Whoever it may be, those who are in judiciary, they are not accountable to the legislature or executive. Even once again, I would like to tell the judges are going to appoint by the executive body. So even though they are not accountable to the legislature and executive, but legislature and executive are responsible to the judiciary, and judiciary it's works under the guidelines of the constitution. So that's what in a democracy the judiciary part working as a security of the constitution. Security, it's like a security guard for constitution. So this system, even it is well known as the horizontal distribution of power, because here all these three organs are placed at the same level, and even they are exercising the different powers. So the next class we are going to discuss about the government at different levels. This is also the one of the basic feature of the democratic countries. In a democratic countries or the system, we can see the government at a different level. So the next class we are going to discuss about so the government at a different levels, the central, state, like that. Thank you. Have a nice day.